You might have seen the clip. Diddy's daughter standing up and walking out of the courtroom mid-testimony. But what you probably don't know is why.
But let me tell you, not only because he had left, he was in the back of the court and then he went. I think they took up to like a back room. But the all the Diddy kids are there, right? So his daughters are there. I was sitting behind them. It was awkward for me to watch them have to listen to all of this. After he started, the male Esther started getting into a lot of the and stuff, they got up and left.
Who told him to leave? Did Diddy say leave or?
No, Diddy didn't tell them to leave. I don't know if there was a conversation or not. I looked up from writing and I saw them get up, so I don't know. But I know that they were like checking on each other throughout. I saw them ask like Christian at one point, like, "You okay?"
They didn't just walk out like they were bored or needed air. One of them was trembling. Another looked like she was about to throw up. The third, she just stared ahead like her entire world had cracked wide open. And make no mistake, this wasn't some awkward family moment. This was the unraveling of everything they thought they knew about their father. What happened in that courtroom wasn't just graphic, it was soul-destroying. The kind of stuff no child, no matter how old, should ever have to hear. And yet, there they were, front row, listening. To understand why they got up and left, we need to back up. Because this wasn't just a bad day in court. This was day one. And day one started with a bang. Cassie, pregnant, poised, calm. She walked into that courtroom not as a victim, but as a storm.
Cassie said she learned through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism.
Diddy's ex, his muse, the woman who had once been the centerpiece of his public life, now his accuser. And from the second she sat down, everything changed. Her voice didn't shake. She didn't cry. She didn't beg for sympathy. She told her story like she had rehearsed it 100 times, not because it was fake, but because she'd been living it in silence for over a decade. Cassie didn't hold back. She spoke of freak-offs, disturbing gatherings that weren't just rumors, they were scheduled, rehearsed.
What is a freak-off? The freak-off essentially was something that...
He had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak-offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting.
She said Diddy would fly her out to luxury hotels in Vegas, LA, Miami, not for vacations, but for these orchestrated encounters. And he didn't just watch, he directed. Silent sometimes, active other times, like a man filming his own private horror movie.
Star witness taking the stand, but it was more than that. It was how Cassie took that stand. You could hear a pin drop when those doors opened, and a visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura walking past a man she had not seen in 6.5 years. A man she says violently abused her for a decade. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying.
The way she told it, she wasn't his girlfriend, she was his prisoner. And sitting just feet away were Diddy's daughters, Chance, Jessie, and Delilah, watching, listening, processing. And it wasn't long before things got even darker, because just when the room started to settle, the second witness came forward. And what he said didn't just disturb the court, it paralyzed it. His name? Daniel Phillip, a male escort. But more than that, a man with receipts. His testimony sent a chill through the courtroom. He claimed that Diddy paid him thousands of dollars to perform in front of him, to do things while Diddy sat nearby, watching, sometimes giving instructions, sometimes participating. It was graphic, it was twisted, but it was just the beginning. Daniel spoke about something that had been whispered about online for years, the infamous baby oil stories. He confirmed them, described the details, down to how much was used, where it went, how it needed to look natural. It wasn't just disturbing, it was orchestrated. Like everything else in Diddy's world, even the depravity was curated. Then came the moment that broke everything. Daniel told the court, under oath, that at one point he was instructed to perform these acts on Cassie while she was visibly unwell, and to keep going. As if it was normal, as if someone had written the script and passed it to him in advance. And when that moment landed, the courtroom changed. You could feel it. A silence so loud it was deafening. And that's when the girl stood up. One clutched her chest like she couldn't breathe. Another quietly sobbed. The third looked completely hollow, like her childhood had just shattered in real time. People later debated whether they should have even been there. Was it brave? Was it reckless? No one really knows. But what's clear is that what they heard that day didn't just embarrass them, it broke them. Because for the first time, they weren't hearing rumors on blogs or whispers in the hallways of elite schools. They were hearing testimony from the mouths of adults in a federal courtroom with cameras flashing, reporters scribbling, and every detail cutting deeper than the last. Cassie returned to the stand, this time more personal, more raw. She talked about the drugs, the exhaustion, the infections, the injuries, how her throat would close up, how her tongue would swell, not once, but repeatedly. And the entire time, she claimed, Diddy controlled everything. What she wore, who she saw, what music she made, even how she looked. She said she wasn't just isolated, she was erased. But then came something that made everyone freeze again. Daniel revealed that sometimes Cassie would ask for these acts to happen, but he didn't believe it. He said it felt fake, scripted, like she'd been told to say it, maybe even threatened. That line hit differently, because it suggested that this wasn't just Diddy spiraling out of control. This was Diddy crafting a narrative, building a persona, turning everyone in his life into puppets on a stage where he played God. Now remember, this is all happening with federal agents in the back row, journalists, lawyers, and his daughter sitting front and center, there to support their father, smiling when he blew kisses, waving when he made hand gestures, and then, just hours later, walking out like they'd seen something they could never unsee. And maybe they had, because by the time court recessed that day, the internet was already on fire. People weren't just talking about Diddy. They were talking about the girls, their reactions, the pain on their faces, the fear, the confusion, and the look, that look, like they were questioning everything, who he was, who they were, and whether their entire life had been a carefully staged illusion. What's haunting is not just what was said, it's what wasn't. The sealed documents, the unnamed accusers, the redacted evidence. If this is what made it into the public eye, you have to wonder, what didn't? And here's the cruel twist of it all. Those girls walked into that courtroom as Diddy's daughters. Privileged, protected, proud. And they walked out as something else entirely. Not just witnesses to a legal proceeding, but victims of truth. Truth that tore through the glitter and the music and the fame and left behind nothing but horror. Some say Diddy will fight this. Others say it's over. But the real question now isn't what happens to him. It's what happens to them. Because no matter how the trial ends, those daughters will never forget what they heard. They'll never hear his songs the same way. Never look at their childhood photos without wondering what was happening behind the scenes. And maybe that's the most tragic part. Not the fame lost, not the empire crumbling, but the innocence destroyed, in public, on record, for the world to see.